Yeah.
Well, here we are in the middle of May. We're right in the middle of the spring season here, and we're out on the Fraser River fishing for sturgeon. It's a nice time of year. The valley's greening up, water levels are good, water temperatures are excellent. The fish are out of their winter areas foraging for food, and there's not a lot of traffic on the river, so it's an attractive time to fish. The fish have been a little bit spotty. They haven't been really aggressive on the bite for whatever reason, but the last couple of days things are starting to turn around. Generally the fish do grab quite hard, and the rest is up to us. We generally start sturgeon fishing in late March, early April, and pretty much everything will work, including ooligans, lampreys, roe, and pike minnows, which are a coarse fish that are frequently found in the Fraser River. At this time we're using pike minnows and ooligans and lamprey. As we progress later on into the summer, we'll start using more salmon parts, and as we go into the fall we start using chum roe. And you'll still find good fishing with pike minnows and even ooligans at times. These fish now are just starting to come onto the bite again, and they're a little bit lazy, so the bite is a little bit slower right now. We're not seeing every fish jump, but typically when the fish are on, and that can happen anytime late March right through to the middle of November, you're going to see the fish grab it fairly aggressively and positively, and once you hook them, within the 30 seconds or even a minute, you're going to start seeing them jumping clear out of the water, sometimes several times. Some of the fishing gear that we do use for sturgeon is fairly stout. I've got custom built fiberglass blanks that are 9 feet long. They're tied up specifically for fishing in the boat and for durability. They have a really nice slow action to them, easy on the anglers, and they provide a ton of power in the butt when you really need to handle a larger fish. The reels we're using are large level wind multiplier style reels. They're all right-hand wind, unfortunately. Some guys are lefties, but they're all right-handed. Everybody seems to get on with it pretty good. And then our line, we're using 130-pound braid, and for a leader I use 80-pound monofilament. I like using monofilament leaders. It allows for a bit of stretch. It's got a nice smooth finish on it, easy on the fish, and the stretch does help when you got a fish close to the boat. It gives you a little bit of room for error. On the end of the leader I'll generally use a 9-aught or a 10-aught barbless hook. So generally we will only fish sturgeon starting in late March as the water colors up. When we get warmer weather, the snow will start to melt, the Fraser will turn from its clear tea color to a very dark brown turbid color. In March you'll see the fish just starting to pull out of the deeper water and move around. There's not a lot of traffic. The weather is a little bit on the chilly side, but you pretty much got the whole thing to yourself. As we move into April, we start seeing an ooligan run, and the fish will start to feed on the ooligans quite aggressively. And then there again, still not a lot of traffic on the river, and it makes for a pretty pleasant outing. May is the same. The ooligans are generally done, and we resort to other baits such as pike minnows and lamprey eels and the like. June, it can be a bit of a tough month because of the peak of the snow melt. The last couple of years we've not had a lot of snowpack, and therefore we really haven't had a big runoff in June. But it's always something to watch out for. If you're looking at a June trip where you have the longest days of the year and some real nice weather, it's always good to call ahead or check in to see what the snowpack levels are to kind of get a rough idea of what to expect. As we move into July and August, the salmon are in full force, sockeye and chinook. We start moving into using salmon parts, salmon bellies, pieces of salmon flesh And of course that brings out the nicer weather and more anglers, but still it's a really nice time to be on the water. August is starting to see some more traffic, but fishing is excellent at that time, as is September. I would say probably August, September, and October are some of our peak months for the season. October can be a real neat month to fish because you have the opportunity to fish not only for sturgeon, but also for 3 or 4 different species of salmon. So while we travel on the river fishing or going from one spot to the next by jet boat, you'll often see a lot of wildlife on the river, including seals, which will move their way up the river following the salmon and newligans. You'll see deer and quite a few black bear at times. Black bears are tremendous swimmers. They love moving from one island to the next, looking for new food sources. Generally in the spring, they're going to be eating grasses and foraging on vegetative matter, maybe the odd bit of carrion here and there. Yesterday we saw 2 bears actually swimming across the river, and they sure put on a nice sight. They're such a powerful, strong swimmer, and it's just nice to see them.
Oh man.
The Fraser River runs from Mount Robson Park, cuts around Prince George and heads south to Vancouver. It's almost 900 miles long. The sturgeon fishery exists probably for the first 250 or 300 miles from the ocean onwards. We concentrate on a 110-mile section between the non-tidal boundary and up to Yale. In between those sections, you'll see probably 3 different reaches or types of river environments. The lower river will be tidal. It will be wide, vast, and open, a little bit shallower. As we move into the middle section, you'll see the banks are rockier, the water speed increases, and as we get up towards Hope into the lower canyon section, like you see behind me, the river is quite narrow. We're fishing back eddies, we're fishing offshore at times, and the river is quite a bit deeper. Nearby there's water that runs nearly 200 feet deep, whereas in the lower river the average depth would probably be around 20 feet. So there's 3 different sections of river, and it provides a lot of variety. So having us move around from one boat launch to the next, fish in different areas, provides a lot of enjoyment. You see something different, and you're always fishing over some new fish, which is quite exciting. We have all 5 species of salmon that run up the river, plus there's cutthroat trout, dolly varden, there's steelhead, which are ocean-going rainbow trout, and numerous coarse fish that the sturgeon will feed on. So sturgeon are quite a unique fish. They have an extremely long lifespan, and it is suspected they live up to 150 years of age. When I first started advertising these trips to the English market and other countries, there was a time where you wouldn't see as many 7-footers to the side of the boat. And nowadays 7-footers are quite common. You come out for a week, it's highly likely that you're going to see a fish of 7 or 8 feet long, which would be 200 to 300 pounds, to the side of the boat. And filling in the gaps are plenty of fish in the range of 3 to 6 feet long. Our largest fish is nearly 900 pounds and was 11 foot 3 fork length, and there are much larger in here, but they're extremely difficult to land, as you can imagine.